Bible verse that says, "Thou shalt not, uh,
Nope, we're live. Dun, 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 dun.
thou shalt not put seed into a sock"? Is there a Bible verse that says that? I'm not wrong. I don't think I'm wrong on this one.
Siri.
Let me get into the conspiracy of what marriage really is about.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Already.
Hello,
Hello.
hello, what's up, bro?
Hey, it's the What's Up Bro podcast. We talk movies, sports, TV shows, pop culture, and it's funny, motherfuckers. With Nery signs. I'm like, what? How can this? They have Photoshop. Photoshop exists when this artist rendition was done. How the fuck is this not cooler looking than a sketch that looks like it was done by a hillbilly off the side of the road? What the fuck are we talking? Why is this a thing?
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Missy.
Just let me finish my thought before you fucking interrupt me. Wrong room to ask questions.
Welcome to the party, pal.
And Mike Markadal.
I'm just glad I like vanilla, boring sex like this. I'm glad that the sex I enjoy won't get me killed.
That's how winning is done.
Chappelle, and this is What's Up, Bro.
All right, welcome
Hold on,
to
I'm
the What's Up
scatting.
Bro podcast. Welcome to the What's Up Bro podcast. Your favorite podcast where you come to watch and listen to people talk shit and debate over what marriage really is about. I am your host, Nery Signs. I'm back, baby. The writer. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. We should write that down.
I'm pretty sure she's gonna sue me anyway, so
Yeah.
Does she own copyrights to Misdemeanor?
I don't want to find out actually.
How would you? how would you own a copyright to the
A
word?
word, yeah.
You know,
Well,
the
it's not. I
word
don't think it would be a copyright. I think it would be a trademark for her, a
Trademark.
business trademark, because copyright is state. But I don't know. I don't want to find out because I feel like it might be expensive. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
I think that might be her only source of income at this point. It's just
No, she's still
Important.
producing. I think maybe, probably. Excuse
Wow.
me while I look it up.
she's still
I-
doing stuff, but why would you if you have like a complete, you know what I mean? Like she's got like I've always wondered, like the people who get like just a shit ton of money and then vanish off the face of the earth, where do they go?
They
You know what I
go.
mean? Like,
They're off being rich.
yeah, but like
That's what they do now. They're just rich, like Batman.
like
yeah, they go on
Batman.
private planes they go on private to private islands owned by rich people. They don't ask questions,
Mm.
right? I mean, that would never come back to haunt you, right? You just take a flight to a rich
Yeah,
an island, to a private island.
where there was a weird temple and lots of nieces. Like just an awkward amount of like, wow, this guy really wants to connect with the youth.
What are we
You know-
talking about?
You know,
Epstein. We're talking about Epstein.
yeah, Epstein, man.
Jeffrey
Oh,
Epstein.
that guy. Yeah,
So
yeah.
everyone and their mother is on the
Yeah, everybody who's famous is like, do you see what and in my mind I'm like, guys, at what point do you go, hey, this is probably not a good idea, right?
right? Like you go to your publicist, you're like, hey,
Can you get me off
we
this
gotta
list?
get off this island.
you know who would do it is Matthew McConaughey's character in Tropic Thunder. He would get him off the fucking island.
That is such, you know, it sucks because I forgot who it was supposed to be. Do you know who it was supposed to be?
Oh,
It was
I
supposed
don't know. Yeah, I have no
There was
idea.
somebody, and it was like a tragedy, and then Matthew McConaughey just stepped up and then did like the best version of that character, calling him Tugger Nuts. and
Oh, you
shit.
mean there was supposed to be another? I thought it was based upon I thought it was a caricature of a well-known agent or whatever. I thought that's what you meant.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, but a different actor was supposed to.
Yeah, that's what you mean is that there was a different actor supposed to play that
Cast,
role.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know who that is,
oh,
but that'd be
It was
very
Owen
interesting.
Wilson. 'Cause you
Oh,
know how
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ben is always working with Owen. No, fuck that. Matthew McConaughey crushed that shit.
Yeah, but it was when Owen Wilson was, addicted. It was going through rehab and was suicidal and all that stuff. And then, like last minute, they brought in Matthew McConaughey and he crushed it.
That's amazing how they're like at the last minute we got an Academy Award winner. We just like
Yeah.
as a substitute. Like, hey, do you mind doing this small ass role in his movie. Like, just it's a small part. It was intended for somebody else, but
I mean, that seems
I mean,
fun as hell. Like, could you imagine? Like, look at that movie right now. Like, how many like heavy hitters are in that? That's still one of the best comedies of recent memory. Like,
I love that movie. I agree with you.
So good.
You're talking about Tropic Thunder?
Yes. Well, we're talking about the movie that Tropic Thunder is based off of. That's a joke.
I'm laughing. No, I'm laughing.
Ooh, somebody should tell your face. But like that movie is still so prescient because like at the beginning when they show the frozen world and the fire world and like that Ben Stillers keeps playing this action hero and he wants to be like a drama hero, and then you cut to now where there's how many like Mission Impossible movies that Tom Cruise is just like does these movies to like learn new skills. I think, hey, in this movie we should be throwing javelins, and then they made that. There's some like the key moment in every Mission Impossible movie. He's like, oh, we need to get this digital decoder spear into that distant building, and then it's like, don't worry, I've been training for this my whole life, and he launches a javelin.
I binged that franchise last year with the intention of hating it. Like that was my intention. I was like, I'm gonna watch it, so I hate it, and then I can say I watched it and I hated it, right? And then I watched it and I fucking loved. I love the Mission
Impossible movies.
No, that's so good. So good.
They're so great, and there's like nothing I can say, bad about it. It's just, I think it's just a great. The spy movie genre is, you would think it would get stale, but movies like Mission Impossible and James Bond and Bourne Identity, like I feel like they have a lot of.
Well, the great thing is that they revitalize one another, because James Bond was doing all the gadgety shit, right? Which I personally love. I legitimately love all the gadgets. I love the GoldenEye movies. The Pierce Brosnan is my 007. He's my James Bond. So I love all the gadgets and invisible cars, and I thought that was the fucking tits. But then the Bourne movies came out, and they went like old school, like no high tech. They were just like close combat. Everything is going to be, quick cut action sequences. And then James Bond started copying them.
Right.
James Bond was like, okay, fuck yeah, let's do that. And it's funny because that's when I was like, but where are the gadgets?
Where's the murder?
Where are the gadgets?
Well,
But I love the entire genre. But I will say Mission Impossible. That's what I love about Mission Impossible. It has the nitty gritty shit of the Bourne, like up close and personal fights, close quarter fighting, but it also has absurd technology that doesn't exist.
I have a question.
Well, it does, only for Apple employees.
I have a question.
Apple has that fucking mask shit. Fucking high-end Apple CEOs have that fucking. They have that mask.
Yes, and they also don't let their children use the internet. But I have a question about 007, and it's gonna sound like a stupid question, so I'm just gonna disclaimer that. But isn't 007 the program or like his employee ID? Like which one? Huh?
007.
It's a rank.
Okay. Double O is a rank. The number.
So he's 7th?
Yeah, he's 7. And then the double O is a rank.
Okay. Or code names.
So my question is,
a double O is a rank.
I sent it in our group chat that Daniel Craig said that he doesn't think that James Bond, like the next James Bond, should be a woman, but he totally thinks that women are capable of equal caliber roles and creative opportunities. He just doesn't think that James Bond should be a woman. But my question was, when I saw that, I was like, but isn't 007 like, I thought it was like his employee ID. I didn't think that it was like something that was transferable. So like, there could be a 004 and it could be a girl.
In one of the movies there was 006. Remember that one of the bad guys was formerly 006, and then he quote unquote died, but he didn't really die.
Oh, the Javier Bardem guy?
Yeah. He was 006.
No, it was Sean Bean.
One of them. I haven't seen
Javier Bardem was another guy.
Yeah. So the 7 and the 6 are the identities, but the 00 is a rank. But what he's not saying 007, he's saying the character of James Bond. Like that's not.
That's the thing. What happened is that they started making all of these James Bond movies based on the novels, and then they handed it off to like different actors, and they were like, "Oh, who's going to play this character? Who's going to play this character?" Now, there is the which man is going to play this character? Which white British man is going to play this character?
Should be Idris Elba.
But here's the thing. Like, it turned into a thing of character, like actors playing the same characters, because it happens with Batman. It happens with every time someone takes up the mantle of whatever it is. But a lot, like, I'll be honest with you, I don't enjoy any of these new 007s. I couldn't watch. I could not finish Spectre. Quantum of Solace. I was like,
yeah, Quantum of Solace is awful.
I really feel like I paid off some sins with watching that movie.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I could not give a fuck. And the last Pierce Brosnan one with the guy with diamonds in his face or whatever, is that the last?
I love that one too.
But
I
that
fucking
was
love
like,
that one. And that one, everybody hated that one. I was like universally hated, and I was like, that was awesome. Man, I had Halle Berry in it. Oh,
Yes,
fucking
that's
crazy.
right.
The Invisible Car. Oh shit. I love that fucking movie. But I'm alone. I'm a lonely man in that island. I
the
know.
problem is that Hollywood and British filmmakers or whoever is making these movies just want to crank out this factory of, it's like a franchise. It's like McDonald's. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like at a
It's not
certain
like
point,
a franchise. It is a franchise, no?
but it's like the bad way. You know what I mean? Like it's just recycled mess. You know,
Like Fast and the Furious is a bad franchise.
Well,
like
Fast
that.
and the Furious has kind of, it's like it's done that thing where it leaned into the jokes so hard that it's become almost like a parody of itself. You know, when they're getting chased by a fucking submarine or whatever.
I don't know
like,
that it's almost. I think it's for sure a parody of itself.
Don't tell that to Vin Diesel, because he tries to get the most out of his actors. And
Oh my god, that was so great.
He gets the most.
With Tough Love.
That's what it was.
Have you seen the video? Have you seen the video making the rounds where when GoldenEye came out, there was a British British news show, and they were like, "Oh, at the movies, the new James Bond is out. What did you think about GoldenEye?" And it's like they have people coming out of the movie theater talking about it, and they have at the end of the video, it's like a minute and a half video, and at the end they have a guy saying like, "It was brilliant. He was great. He was everything you needed to be. Like he is James Bond. Like he's the cool guy. Like this guy was like raving whatever." And if you look closer, it is a uber young Idris Elba who is saying that.
Wow.
Yeah, I fucking shared it, but nobody pays attention. But yeah, it's really fucking like, it was like, again, you gotta really be paying attention. Like, first of all, kudos to whoever fucking found that video, because
Right.
GoldenEye came out in what, 98, 99?
97.
Yeah, so shout out to whoever is pulling up a 25-year-old video.
The internet is forever, kids.
At the end of the video is a 5-second clip, 10-second clip of a young Idris Elba, an unknown. It wasn't like it said his name at the bottom, so
Right.
it's bonkers. Where I'm like, oh shit.
The reason I brought all that up is because that it's recycled, stuff, is that in the argument of like, oh, could a woman play James Bond? Or like Lashana Lynch is the name of the actress who's supposed to be taking up the 007 name, the code name for the next couple movies, right? She's a black woman. And in my mind, I'm always like,
oh, what?
Yeah.
Imagine if that was the part that I had a problem with. Like,
Yeah.
What?
Imagine.
But my thing is always like, I don't want to see a black woman play James Bond. I want to see a better movie that a black woman plays the lead in. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see an original spy thriller. You know what I mean? Like, at this point, it's like,
Well, Atomic Blonde had an African woman playing the lead. So
technically, yes, you're not wrong that Charlize Theron is an African woman.
she is.
But the point,
And the movie was amazing. Atomic Blonde was the shit.
I have to see it. It looks great.
What?
I want to see Gunpowder Milkshake.
Gunpowder Milkshake is great, but it's very different. It's like a fun Gunpowder Milkshake is like the popcorn version of like.
Gunpowder Milkshake.
Atomic Blonde is legit an amazing movie on multiple levels, but it's a legit amazing spy movie where it has twists and turns where you're not expecting. Because I went in there thinking that it's gonna be like just a fucking beat 'em up movie, and it is not, my friend. It is and the soundtrack, it's based upon. It takes place in East Berlin in the 80s, right before the fucking fall of the Berlin Wall. So the soundtrack is Duran Duran and all that. Like, it's fucking great,
That
man.
sounds good. I want
It's
to watch
so
the movie.
good. You should watch that instead of watching anything that's on the Kickflix wheel. You should watch that.
Bro. Who you talking to, man? I was.
Stop! It's not anybody. It's the wheel, bro. It's
Viewers
the
and listeners,
wheel.
go back to watch the latest episode of Kickflix.
It's not up yet. It's not
it's still on YouTube. The
one on YouTube. The one on YouTube is Shaolin Soccer. That's the one you
I
like.
just want to say, there's 4 people on that panel, 2 of which don't usually have a good time.
No, that's not true. We alternated this time. We alternated. It was very even. We did 2 episodes. In each episode, there were 2 people that loved the movie and 2 people that hated it. And in each episode, those 2 people switched.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Well, that was nice.
Even. It was very even. It's like, oh,
Good.
I love this movie. It's like, really? Because I hate it. And then it's like, all right.
Reverse.
Now, what about this other movie? Oh man, I can't stand it. Really?
Mike, it's been like 3 weeks. Wait. It's about Kickflix. Are you still pissed about Blind Fury?
I will take it to the grave that I will be mad that I spent time watching that movie. On my death, I'd be like, I could have lived an hour and a half longer. I will
3 hours because you saw it twice. 3 hours.
Yes, because I did have to start it over because I couldn't fucking follow it. That's right. 3 hours of Nery, 3 hours of my life that you took.
You just made it worse.
I know. I was like, oh wait, just making sure. Can I just tell you a real quick story? We're gonna get to the comments in a minute. George, I see you. Chiquita, I see you. We're gonna get to you in a minute. But can I just tell you a really quick story? It was years ago that I was working at a comedy club and I was opening up for Tracy Morgan. And Tracy Morgan's stand-up routine is very, very dirty. It's like it's like X-rated. It's not even
still to this day.
Oh, again, this was 10 years ago. This was 15 years ago that I worked with him. So so I don't know what his act is now, but I don't think it's matured. I'm gonna go out on a limb on that one. But a lot of people enjoy his act. They enjoy Tracy Morgan, whatever. And this is right when 30 Rock was about to pop off, like right when it was about to pop off. And so he's on stage and he's going at somebody in the audience. I don't know for what. I wasn't watching the entire show from the beginning. So I'm outside in the lobby and there's an audience member who's yelling at the manager, like, this is absurd, this is crazy. I come here to have a good time and to hear funny stuff. Meanwhile, you have this guy on stage saying that he's gonna fuck me in the ass. And then this is my favorite part. The manager goes, and your wife. And your wife. Like just remember that he also said it about your wife. And when that happened, I had to turn because I was just standing there. I was maybe 6 feet away. I feel like now during the pandemic, I know exactly what 6 feet away feels like. So I was standing 6 feet away, but 6 feet away, like at their side, like I wasn't behind one somebody. I was like watching this like a fucking movie, like just chewing popcorn. And when the manager said that, I had to turn my face and walk away because I was gonna fucking laugh in the dude's face. And I was like, that's hilarious. You just got told. Remember the time that the fucking guy was like, I'm gonna fuck your wife? You remember. So that reminded me of this time right now when Mike was like, I wasted an hour and a half. I'm like, no, 3.
Yeah. I actually had the thought, but I was like, spare him. Spare him. And Nery's like, nope.
George, real quick, let's get to some comments. George saying, what's up, George?
Hey,
he's
George.
saying he's yes, I am still working out. He's asking me if I am working out. Thank you. And he says that I can be the new 007, el 007 Nicaragüense.
I like how you didn't read the last part.
I legit what Nicaragüense hijo de puta. It's actually
it's actually one word.
Yeah, Nica words is like hueputa, but it's I never know how to spell hueputa.
I think you spell it phonetically. Yeah.
Chiquita says 007 equals Sean Connery. Case closed.
Yeah, that but I would say he's the most iconic. Like that's who people think of when they
Let me text my friend.
I think it usually, when it comes to James Bond, it's usually whoever you were introduced to as James Bond.
Fair.
So if you were a kid and your parents or your grandparents, I have a friend that does this, grandfather introduced him to him, and It was, I forget, Roger Moore. I don't remember which one it was. That's
Roger
what.
Moore is a good fucking Bond too.
But nobody's saying otherwise. I don't think there's been a bad Bond. There was that one guy that did it one time. I guess that would be a
George
bad.
Lazenby,
Yeah.
He was doing it like in between.
Timothy Dalton was a fucking good, but like they're all been good.
I love Timothy Dalton.
But they've
That's the
all
one
been,
that I was introduced to.
my point is that they've all been good, but they've all, depending on how long their run as James Bond was, they've all had good, great, and shitty movies. They run the gambit. So I think it's just a matter of like who were you introduced to as Bond, and that's who your Bond is. To me, the first time I ever saw a James Bond movie was GoldenEye. So to me, not only is Pierce Brosnan the fucking quintessential James Bond, but GoldenEye is the quintessential Bond movie, to which all other Bond movies will be measured to. Jeff says that Johnny English greater than sign 007.
Who is
Johnny
that?
English is the guy who's Mr. Bean. Rowan Atkinson. He plays a spy, and he plays.
Yeah, I know.
Johnny
I'm
English.
familiar. I didn't know his name.
If
Was
we ever did
I
a
thought his
James,
name was Bean, comma Mister.
if we ever did a James Bond themed wheel picker, Jeff would put Johnny English as one of the options.
The entire catalog.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other thing. They just tried to bring him back too as Johnny English returns or some shit like that, and they were trying to recapture the magic of whatever it is. And to be fair, because you can literally watch whatever you want right now from any point in published media, like the tape from Idris Elba, like because things you don't have to feel nostalgic about things in a like, oh, remember when? It's like, no, we can literally just watch it now. You want to go watch the Goonies? Yeah, let's go watch the Goonies right now. You know, like that's how it is with literally everything. You don't have to have the remember when part of nostalgia because it's the here now. So they like whenever they release like some sort of reboot or anything like that, like everything that's getting reboot right now, I always wonder, like I'm one of those people like in the MCU, I'm all about changing it up from the comics and giving me something different and all. I genuinely enjoy a good story, but I also like there's so much like take risks on new properties and give us stuff that would be uniquely expressive of a black female spy thriller. You know what I mean? Like when Jordan Peele is doing horror, but from the black perspective, African American perspective, it's like creative and new and fresh, and it was a huge fucking hit. Like they should take more risks. You know, I don't want to see another fucking, movie.
I think I half agree with you and half disagree with you because of what you said earlier. Because we could watch whatever the fuck we want, so give us all of it. Give us another Batman. Give us another 007. But also give us a fucking spy movie with a black female lead. Like
I think that's what
give us all of it. Let's give us all that. There's no need to pick and choose. There's no need to be like, well, I could give you a black female led spy thriller, or I could give you another 007. No, bitch, you could give us all of it. And guess what? We'll watch all of it.
So
it's multiple media now. Like we'll just go and fucking online and watch it whenever the fuck we want.
So I think what is interesting, well, in typical 2021 style, the headline now, the clickbait is Daniel Craig doesn't think a woman should be 007. And that's not what he said. But that's what, that's what's getting everybody's attention. And I think that if on the surface of that, it does sound a little, but I don't know. I was just very suspicious about it. And I just think I agree with you guys. I think that, give us all of it. And there is the budget for it. And there is an opportunity to push the limits on the imagination, the universe that is a spy, like and the spy genre or whatever.
And there is the audience for it. Then not only is there a market
for it,
there is a market for it. There's an audience for it. Like there's no longer this old studio format where it's like, well, people won't go to the pictures to see that. It's like, what? What are you talking about? What are we talking about? What? Not only will we go to we don't even have to go to the fucking theaters anymore. Like people make money off of streaming shit. Like I don't understand.
I will challenge that like 3 people saw that new Charlie's Angels movie. Like
1, 2.
Me and Missy are 2. And then Q,
Elizabeth
Quills is 3.
Yes. So, and then Elizabeth
Banks.
Elizabeth
Banks. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that like I guess it's like people want to make their projects, but also like
Hey man, make the project, but at least make it good. Make the attempt.
See,
Like,
that was my
things
big
good.
gripe with her when she was pissed about Charlie's Angels not doing well,
Right.
because she was like, oh, the patriarchy or whatever. Like, I felt so insulted by that, because the patriarchy and the whole conversation behind that is a real thing. It's not just a Hollywood movement. It's something that people deal with on a micro level. And for you to pin the fact that your studio had no faith in your movie because it was an actual objectively shit movie on the fact that the patriarchy was working against you was fucking bullshit. Make a better movie. And conversely, Olivia Wilde, at the same time, she dropped Booksmart with no fucking marketing budget, with no fucking push from the studio. And that movie did great, because objectively, that movie was fucking good and it got traction because of word of mouth. So I was like fucking livid when she ran her mouth about that. And I think that was one of the reasons why I didn't want to even see it, because I was like, this movie's gonna be shit. And on top of that,
but she ran her mouth after the movie came out. We saw it opening weekend, BFF.
no.
Yes.
I don't want that to be true.
we saw it opening weekend. Yes.
Oh God. I mean,
she ran her mouth after like the second week when it was clearly not doing well.
In terms of BFF moments, that I do rank that very, very high, but has nothing to do with the movie at all.
But she does say that like one of the things she did say was true, is that if you don't support these movies made by minority, marginalized voices, then they won't put money into them, which is true. But then Jordan Peele made Get Out and made like a shit ton of money, and then
he made a good movie.
But
that's my point.
And
you gotta make it good.
I will say this though. Not defending Charlie's Angel because that movie is garbage, and not defending Elizabeth Banks, but there are truths to her statement. Although it's like when a politician says half truths, and you go, that's kind of misleading. So there are truths to what she said. I will say that it's different putting it up against Jordan Peele because of two things. Realistically talking, and this is not a joke. This is not this is like I want to say a fucking tip my hat to the black audiences support their own. Like, that's the thing. I said that before Black Panther came out. I said Black Panther is going to be the biggest movie that Marvel's ever put out. I promise you. I said that 2 or 3 years before Marvel came out on a podcast. I said that, and they were like, "What makes you say that?" And nobody knows about this character. I go, the fact that it's going to be a Marvel movie already puts it at a certain level of amount of people that are going to go watch it, and not for nothing, but the African American community supports their own. The fact that Madea has more than one movie made goes to show you. Tyler Perry, no, but as Madea. Not Tyler Perry, because Tyler Perry is he's an actor on his own. But the fact that Madea has multiple movies.
It's driving me crazy that you're not saying Madea.
I mean,
it's like huh?
No, it's not tomato situation. It is Madea.
It's Madea.
Okay. So the fact that Madea has multiple movies, I don't understand. I don't know what you're talking about. Missy and I were talking about something earlier personally, and she mentioned that Mike is pedantic, and I'm like, I don't think that's true. So anyways, nothing to do with this. Anyways, moving on.
That's not what pedantic means, but let's move on.
Yeah.
Boom, I did it as a joke.
So then but yeah, my whole point is it's different. People, I think the general US population, movie-going population, are more likely to go support a black male-led movie, which is
true.
Get Out, than a white female-led movie.
But so
that's my opinion on them. Again, I have no notes to back this up. I just think that if it's the average moviegoer in America, if they see a movie that's starring a black man or a white woman, they'd rather go see the black man than a white woman, like in the starring role. Like,
well,
boom.
Okay, so Blackish had a great episode where they posed this question. I don't remember the exact episode that they did this, but I do remember that they posed the question of, should we support a movie just because it's black cast, black lead, whatever.
I remember that
regardless of whether or not it's good or not. And Dre, the dad, Anthony Anderson's character, was pushing for yes, we absolutely do it. And then like that's what Blackish does great is that they take the
Both
conversation
sides.
and then they just argue. You know, the whole episode is the conflict is discussing both sides. And so that I think that brings a good point where is there an opportunity? Is there a budget? Absolutely, for there to be more spy movies where it's not just, you know, James Bond's like that iconic, you
For
know,
a white man.
for a white man. Yeah,
Just
there
Jason
absolutely is an
Bourne,
opportunity.
White man, Jason
But
Bourne,
what
white man. You know, Ethan is white. You know,
what I think is going to be interesting about this is that before the pandemonium, we saw Hollywood with the trend of wanting to do reboots, of wanting, and which I know that I'm equal parts full of shit. I'm full of shit for not liking reboots because there are a lot of movies that I like that are legitimate reboots. But the trend of like constantly fucking pumping these out like just at a belligerent rate is not going to let up, because now Hollywood's playing on a different field now because of the pandemonium, because of
streaming. And that was something that Kevin Feige said, like straight up. He's like, the future of Marvel movies is Disney Plus. Like the future of Marvel storytelling is on Disney Plus, and they haven't been wrong. Like they haven't. That like Loki was fucking huge. WandaVision, huge. Like all of these shows were literally on the cultural like zeitgeist. Like everybody was talking about these shows because they were on streaming and people had instant access to them. I think the whole Black Widow premiere access thing was a mistake. I think they should have released it in theaters and that's it. And they should have, or they should have released it on Disney Plus and that's it. Like they giving people the option to, well, you can watch it at home for $30 is like, you know,
yeah.
kind of
But that for you, that's a lot of money. For me, which I would have to take my wife and kids, $30 is a savings. Like, so if
yes, but I'm
so
just talking about the
me-
theater experience of like a person enjoying the movie. That movie was good. I think if I would have seen it on the small screen and not on the big screen, I would have not liked it as much. Like there's certain movies that you need to watch on the big screen, you know, like
like any porn. You know?
Oh my god, you remember like could you imagine like a big fucking 20-foot
20-foot clitoris? Like,
yeah,
I found it.
Why? Why?
All right, let's get to some comments real quick. Jeff says, if looks could kill, man, that is a movie that I legitimately love from my childhood, Richard Grieco, and I probably once a month I'll go through iTunes just to make sure it's not available, because if it is, once it is available, it's not. But once it becomes available, I will fucking buy that movie.
How do these movies get on your radar, Jeffrey? I'm curious because
I saw it when it came out.
Yeah, if looks could kill when it came out,
it was a big movie.
It was a huge movie. Richard Grieco was.
Oh, then I'm the asshole. Got it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely.
Am I the asshole? Yes.
Yeah.
I
came out in the 90s, and it was like right after his run. It was when Richard Grieco. It was right after he finished his 21 Jump Street run. He was like a huge. That was supposed to be the movie that broke it. I mean, the movie didn't do well in theaters, but if you're of a certain age, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a spy and you're in high school. What? And you get the hot chick and the cool car. Bro, that movie was.
It was like the perfect. You get tapped to be this hero.
Yeah.
And it was. Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Hilda says, agreed. There have been so many teases to Gaiman's Sandman for years. I hope one day it happens.
Neil Gaiman,
says, the Equalizer show with Queen Latifah is actually pretty good. I've actually seen like 4 episodes.
Is that based on the movie? No, that was The Eraser. No, there is a movie too.
No, there is a movie. There is a movie, The Equalizer. However, there was the original TV show on The Equalizer in the 70s. So it's now like the movies are like.
The more you
I don't want to say based off, but it's like the same character.
Loosely based.
And the Queen Latifah character but it's somehow related to the Denzel's character. I don't know how, but they have the same last name. But I've only seen like the first 4 or 5 episodes, and it was good. It's
Denzel's variant on the screen timeline, the sacred timeline. Just so you're aware, If Looks Could Kill is available on Amazon on VHS.
Yeah,
it's available for purchase for $7.92 on VHS.
I've
Like
looked it up.
$7.92 or $792.
It is $7,092.
I would actually buy that movie. It was on Blu-ray DVD, like I did with Ninja 3: The Domination. I was like, yeah, I would definitely buy this movie.
Can't wait for that movie to come up in the wheel. When am I gonna win?
Helda says, side note, my comment was speaking to Mike's comment about taking chance on other things instead of reboots. Here's the thing. I've said this before a million times. I'm not gonna harp on it too long. I don't give a fuck about remaking reboots. Make all the reboots you make. Make all the reboots you want. Like I've said about making a new 007 or a new Batman, or making people will watch it and they want. If you don't want to watch it, you don't have to watch it. We're not living in an age where you have to pick and choose. It's not the same thing as like we're gonna either do this reboot or do this original content. It's not. That's not the case.
But what ends up happening is that because the trend is profitable, they're gonna go with the profit. So they started a trend, and now they know it's a cash cow. So
but it's not. The new Point Break remake didn't make any money. It fucking bombed hard as fuck in the box.
But they still invested the money in it.
They still invested the money, but it's not a guarantee. It's just like any other movie, whether it's a reboot or not. There are no guarantees unless in 2021, the only guarantee to make money is if you're a fucking Marvel movie. If you're backed by a Marvel studio with a Marvel logo on it. That's really much it. In 2021, there's no direct, not even Spielberg is guaranteed to be a box office hit right now. It is not. There's no guarantee whether it's a reboot or not. It doesn't matter. And here's the problem that I have with people who have a problem with reboots. It's two things. One, just because they're making reboots doesn't mean that they can't also make originals. It's not one or the other. You could pick all of it. One. Two, people only seem to have a problem with making reboots when they're making a reboot based upon a movie that they don't know was a reboot. So if they don't know it's a reboot, I'll go see The Departed, but The Departed is a reboot. I love fucking The Birdcage, but The Birdcage is a reboot. And so as long as they didn't know the original, as long as they didn't grow up watching the original, people don't seem to have a problem with them making reboots. What people have a problem with, what people have a problem with is them making a reboot of a movie that they already know of, and that's hypocritical at the very least. Where you go, what?
You're right. Your second point is correct. I will say that the first one I only disagree because you're right that it doesn't have to be either or. It can be yes and. But what's happening is it's just reboots.
Well,
that's if you're looking at it from that lens, yeah.
What's happening now is that you have to. It's like the independent scene in the '90s where you had to like know some jackass, really shitty dude at the video store to get like. It's like, oh, you want to see this independent film that came out before it hits big. You would get it. You would go to like these small video stores and you would get that. But now you have to go looking because on streaming they are making shit constantly, and like. I just watched, so I'm on season 2 of For All Mankind on Apple Plus. Amazing show about if Russia beat us to the moon. Amazing. It's like one of these alternate history things. The man in the high castle.
Another what if?
It is a what if. And then the watchers up there like you're in my house. Clean
your feet.
Yeah, clean your feet. There's a ton of stuff, and there's stuff that like Netflix is cranking shit out.
Mm-hmm.
Like just goes to show that this is all a money laundering scheme. This is all a way for.
Man, I was having fun until 2 seconds ago.
Your fun is not my goal. Our audience's fun is my goal, and I'm gonna tell them the truth. We're gonna talk about the money laundering. No, but like it's true. Like the producers, right? If a show does bad, they get money on insurance. All these movies that lose money, they're still getting like some money. You know what I mean? Like they're still balancing it out if they don't meet.
No, I don't feel bad for rich people. I'm just saying. I don't feel bad for rich people. I'm just thinking about the opportunities where rich people are going to want to stay rich, so they're going to greenlight things that are going to continue to make them money, and then but I think the trend was there before reboots, to be fair. But I think that then the people that have original great stories, don't get a fair shot, which that's just a standard. That's just the way that it's always been. So I'm not blaming reboots for that. I'm just saying that I would love to get more original stories.
it's the same thing as mainstream versus underground, because there is like you're just gonna get like garage bands from back in the day that couldn't get their record deals and all that stuff. You would go to like these punk shows, or you would go to like these shows where
like the way that they came
the
up.
quality of the recordings are not as good. Like you have to struggle through like the limitations of technology, but those limitations don't really exist anymore. Like the new iPhone whatever has like the rack focus zoom that you could they did a whole cinematic mode.
I know, it's pretty cool. I wish I would have.
My problem is that they're marketing this shit as like the next step in filmmaking, and they hire they pay somebody thousands of dollars, who knows how much money, some famous director to make a scene or make something with the camera.
It's marketing,
right? But then like there has to be movies out there that have been made solely on an iPhone. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, and music videos and feature films and short films, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so like the limitations aren't there, but you have to dig through, there's just more out there. There's more noise. So you just like to get something good. And the streaming services are really, like my friend Alex Murray, he's in the show on Amazon Prime called Millenniums. And it was Amazon Prime has a ton of stuff that people just give to Amazon Prime for however much so that it could get a distribution.
Yeah.
And so Amazon Prime has like a ton of Amazon Video actually. It has like a ton of stuff, and you can go watch my friend on this show that was produced independently, and then they just put it up on Amazon. So
yeah, there's a John Wynn has a couple shows on Amazon as well. I just saw on Netflix. It was the number 10 movie as of last week on Netflix, and I had never heard of it before. And the reason why it piqued my interest is because it's starring Robert Redford and Jennifer Lopez. And you go,
oh yeah, that was. Yeah,
they're playing father and son, right? Father and daughter, right?
No, that she's.
Oh, they're fucking, bro.
Oh, gross.
They're just No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
No, I'm like, that's not the movie I saw. What the fuck?
They're totally. I mean, that's what I was seeing in my head. No, she played the wife of his dead son.
The widower of his dead son. This movie,
legit awesome.
Fun
it was so fucking good.
It was great. But it didn't do well because
I never heard of it, and I was like, "Is this a new movie?" I thought it was made for Netflix.
Because it was right at the end of the first round of Bennifer, and she could not fucking make a profit in the movies to save her fucking life because of that whole shit show.
2005. The movie came out in 2005. It's for some reason it was number 10 on Netflix last week, and that's the only reason I ever heard of it. Is because I'm fucking swiping through Netflix, like, what do I watch? And it says, and then top 10, and I said, oh, that seems like an interesting title. And then it said, Robert Redford and Jennifer Lopez, and I was like, wouldn't I? Like that's
the movie is called Top 10. I thought you said it was
Top
10 of Netflix.
How
the hell did a movie?
No,
2005?
it is not called Top 10. It was on the Netflix Top 10.
What?
It was actually number 10. It was number 10. That's why I thought it was a Netflix movie. And while I'm watching this movie, I'm like, man, this is really fucking good. Good for you, Netflix. I'm like, this movie's good. I mean, it's a little heavy, a little dark, but I'm like, it's fucking good. And I start going through like the movie, and then I go through IMDb as I'm watching it, and then sure enough, it says 2005. I'm like, wait, what?
Netflix. It's number 6 now.
Yeah, it was number 10 a week ago. Now it's number 6.
Well, to be fair, the Twilight movies were ranking high.
Because I haven't stopped watching it. That's why.
That's why it keeps going up.
It's like what I do with this podcast. I just when I leave the house, just leave it playing, and then I'll come back, and then the numbers will go higher.
Yep, that's right.
Anyway,
well, we might not be getting any shows anymore soon because all of the crew, like
they're on strike,
are going on strike. Like because all of the crews are, they're working more. All of these streaming shows need someone to hang lights and build sets and all that stuff. And those people are like, they have a union, and it's the power of the union. And they're going on strike. My hospital might go on strike. I might have to go on strike in my hospital because of working. Like a lot of workers are like forming unions, or at the very least collectively bargaining to be like, hey, we just like, you guys still are making money, like your salaries are still in the millions. Like, why would you cut our salaries first? Like, how about you lose one of your millions and pay your employees? You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
Well, there is this phenomenon.
Stephanie Beatrice has posted about it on her Instagram. Stephanie Beatrice is in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. She plays Rosa, and she said, Rosa. It's better with my guitar. She said that her post says, imagine starting work at 4 p.m. on Friday, working 14 hours, finishing and driving yourself home on Saturday at 6 a.m. and having to be back to work at 7 a.m. on Monday. Then imagine someone telling you that's your weekend, basically working sundown to sunup, 80 hours a week, wake up and do it again. Did you know that crews make even less on some streamers because of a good faith contract made back in 2009 when streamers were, quote, new media and needed unions to, quote, help to establish themselves. And so the crews that work on your favorite TV shows, movies, and streaming media deserve to thrive in their work environments and have time to have lives outside of it. Without them, your favorite shows would not exist. And she stands in solidarity with the crews. And it says, give us a rest. We stand together a night and give us a rest at night and on weekends. Well,
So what I was going to say is that there's this great phenomenon happening. They're calling it, it's true. They're calling it the Great Resignation. And what it is that people are quitting their jobs by like in mass numbers. And it's forcing employers to take a look at how much they pay their employees, how they treat them, the benefits, etc., the work environment. And you know, of course, it gets politicized and it turns into like, oh, people are just being lazy or whatever. But no, I mean, if you do the math, and it makes more sense for you to milk unemployment because you're going to make more money and even save more money, like just in childcare. Forget about getting into the nuances of other stuff. Then it just makes sense for you to ride the wave. And it's interesting to see how it's going. It's across industries, it's across fields, and it's going to be very interesting to see where we go from here.
Well, I posted something earlier today where it's like, it's a meme of the capitalist. There's a worker shortage, and then the workers are like, well, scarcity increases value, and the capitalist is like, wait. You know what I mean? Like, we're selling employers hours of our lives, and maybe our like this pandemic and all kinds of like the way we were being treated, especially like as healthcare workers, maybe the amount of money I'm getting is the hours of my life are worth more than what you're willing to pay me.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, and they're like, oh, nobody wants to work anymore. It's like, no, nobody wants to work for you because you pay shit. You know what I mean? Like, if like there's like so many stories like this going on right now. People like trying to take advantage of this time and hire people at like lesser rates than they were paying even before. Oh, we can't afford to. If you can't afford to pay a living wage, you shouldn't be in business. And also, if you have a job description that you're only paying like $30,000 a year for, it's like, well, I could go work at McDonald's. You know what I mean? Like, with zero responsibility and just literally just handle people's food.
Well, McDonald's is having a shortage too.
Yeah,
well, I read something. I read something somewhere. It was the internet, but I read something that I haven't done any research, but if it sounds like it's accurate, and if it is accurate, again, you guys, I don't know. I'm not stating it as a fact, but it said that minimum wage was created so that people could live off of that wage. Like, that's the minimum. Like, when they created minimum wage, it wasn't so that we could keep you down. It was so that
with a family.
Like, this is the amount
to have a home with a family.
Yeah, this is the amount of money that it takes to to have a home, to own a home, and with a family. And we're willing to pay you. This is what we're willing to pay you because we know this is what it costs to live. You know, to have a home and with a family. And again, I haven't done the research, but I'm like, oh, if that's the case, then we're doing, because all I've ever known about minimum wage, there's that old bit, and I forgot who did the joke, and I wish I could give him credit because it was a great comedian. He said, minimum wage, which means we want to pay you less, but we legally can't.
It's
right.
Chris Rock. He's like, it's like, we would pay you less, but it's illegal. You know what I mean? Like, but it was a Chris Rock bit. And it's true. Like, this whole the whole minimum wage thing is supposed to be like, it started, like, my favorite example of that is like, remember when like teachers used to be like, you have to study or else you're going to end up like the garbage man. What they weren't telling you is that the garbage man makes more money than them. The garbage man is a more vital, like, Like I don't need certain retail salespeople, like these like people who are, like the garbage man is one of the most important people in society. The guy that, like, imagine, like, literally when garbage workers, waste management workers go on strike, the city's shut down. Like,
By the way,
insane.
they now have a name for that. It's called essential.
Essential.
Fucking essential. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah.
Well, that's the whole rhetoric that I always have a problem with, and I know I sounded like a killjoy last year when healthcare workers and retail employees started getting branded with the hero thing. Oh, these are heroes, and this country has a very short memory when it comes to that, because conversely, we were gagging about how the 9/11 first responders were heroes, and rightfully so, by the way, rightfully
We're
so.
not disagreeing on the hero
But
part.
what ends up happening is a couple years ago, it takes Jon Stewart to go to Capitol Hill to try and get their healthcare bill extended, so that, like, he shames them into it, and they got such bad, it got press because it was Jon Stewart making the case for them. That's what it took. Otherwise, they would have been shit out of luck. So I don't give a fuck about when other people, or when it's like the branded trending thing to do is to call healthcare workers heroes or whatever, because they were heroes before, they're going to be heroes afterwards.
I had a bit about it where it was like, when they start calling you a hero, that's how you know you're about to get fucked. Because they started calling supermarket workers heroes.
So now, exactly, because they're essential.
Needed to work. Yeah, they needed you to think, like, whenever we do well, there's also this, like, kind of infantilization of, like, treating you like a child. When we do well, like,
there's a pizza party.
Yo,
like, what about my trauma?
We were going nuts at the hospital, and we would get, look, hey, thank you for the pizza, but also we are like, we're struggling, you know what I mean? Like, thank you. Yes, ice cream party. Yes, everybody loves. Who doesn't love ice cream? That's not like a replacement for the raises you're trying to take away from us. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the staffing shortages that we have. That's not what is not going to be made up for by having a pizza party. We're not 12-year-olds. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But, like, whatever. It's like they try to. It's like when someone who's like, getting a Mick job. Do you ever heard that phrase, getting a Mick job?
No.
It's like
infantilization. Someone as a child, or in a way that okay.
Wow, that was a long walk, Nery. That was a long walk to.
I legitimately, when you said it, it sounded like you were saying infantilization, and I was like, "What the fuck is infantilization?" I didn't put two and two together. So when I googled infantilization, like EN, they were like, Google was like, "Did you mean?" And I was like, "Ah." But at that point, I already had walked the fucking distance. I'm like, I just might as well share it. But I legitimately heard you wrong. I was like, "Enfile, and what the fuck is enfile?"
I'll tell you this: the fact that people are, like, waking up to this. I've had union benefits when I moved to New York. I've had union benefits for 7 years. It has been the most peace I have felt getting medical attention ever in my life. I would just reach the 1-year anniversary of falling on my skateboard and breaking my face and arm.
I saw that.
Yep. Congratulations to me. I'm 1 year stupid.
I appreciate you sharing the gory pictures, because I was like, oh, cool. Look at that.
Yeah, it was, with my head over.
Was it an action sequence? No, he fell.
Was I doing something heroic? No. But it was like, having good insurance has changed my life. Like, changed my life for mental health, for physical health, for a fucking dermatologist. Like, just not having to think about it has changed my life. And it's like one of those things where it's like, now that I have it, it's like, hey, have you heard about this? Have you guys heard about this? Like, I like want everyone to have that feeling, because it's true. Like, that's probably why Canadians are so nice.
Nope.
You know what I mean? Like, Canadians are nice because they don't have to think about that shit for their whole lives. They could just go to the hospital if they get injured or sick. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to worry about it. Whatever. That's what Jim Carrey said. He's like, imagine you don't have to think about your kid getting sick and having to take time off work or whatever. Imagine.
I know, but I'm not listening to Jim Carrey about what he like the fight for the good old man, because I understand he's an everyman, but he's an everyman like sitting on a lot of cash. So I take it with a grain of salt.
Okay. I don't agree with that either. Just because you have money, you can't, you know what I mean? I don't understand. Like, you can't have opinions about treating other people correctly and treating other people fairly.
Just because you have money doesn't mean you can't sing Imagine into the phones at the very beginning before any bad thing has happened during the pandemic.
Not at all what I was trying to say, but okay. Speaking of which,
I don't even know what she's talking about, but okay.
When Gal Gadot was singing Imagine with all of the celebrities,
she got a bunch of shit from.
I didn't even know that happened.
We're all on the same boat. It's like, nah, man, your boats are bigger because you actually have boats. You have.
Well, I'm not saying. Anyway, did you guys see the Skims pictures?
The Skim. What is this?
Okay, then did you guys see the Megan Fox and Kourtney Kardashian pictures that came out today, that they dropped today for the advertisement?
Okay, I'm looking at it now.
Okay, never mind.
Why don't you tell us about it?
It's not. It's a picture. They're there. I don't know how to explain the picture.
I don't even know what Skims is. Skims
is underwear,
loungewear, and shapewear. Okay, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're doing sexy things. They're doing sexy. They're like eating an apple at the same time, and
they're sharing food.
They're sharing. Yeah, sure. That's what a generous gesture that they're making. I hate
when fucking rich people try to eat food like the rest of us. Like, what the fuck, bro? Oh, really?
Last time Nery and I ate an apple like that, where we're both
you're gonna tell me your fucking apples aren't golden? We know your fucking apples are gold apples, bro. Get out of here with this shit.
Oh, do the thing. Do the thing.
No, you gotta go the other way. Hilda, take screenshots. Do it again. Do it again. Hilda, screenshots. Do it again. Do it again. Hilda, please save us.
To the left. But you're behind the mic.
Looks like you're eating the mic.
Yeah.
Okay, Hilda, one more time. Hurry. You're turning your head too far to the left, bro.
No, whatever. That's the dumbest thing.
The lengths, all this dead air for nothing.
Yeah, for nothing.
That's not the dumbest thing. The dumbest thing was before we even went live, Mike and I were on here and we did a split face where it was like half my face and half his, but I couldn't fucking get it. I didn't know. I don't know how mirrors work, so I was like, when I'm moving to the left, and I told him, I was like, this is 10 minutes of our lives we'll never get back. We will never get 10 minutes back.
I'd rather have that for 3 hours than Blind Fury.
Oh my god!
Do an Am I the Asshole?
Yes, let's do Am I the Asshole.
I got two. Am I the Asshole?
Am I the Asshole? Am I the Asshole? The Asshole. Woo! It's better
that
with
was the extended version, the remix.
It's better with the guitar.
Okay, we have two to choose from. Each of these, just by the title, interesting. Okay. Am I the asshole for making my daughter sleep in the backyard after what she did to our housemaid? Or am I the asshole?
Okay.
Yeah. Am I the asshole for asking my girlfriend not to eat so much? Which one?
I'm gonna leave it to you guys. You guys pick.
No, I present you. Your vote counts.
We have enough time for both, man. Come on, let's do it. Like,
all right. Well,
you're like we're not gonna do both. Come on.
Am I the asshole for making my daughter sleep in the backyard after what she did to our housemaid? He's a male, 46. This is a poster. Daughter, 16, is a high school junior. I noticed recently that she's been behaving in a bad manner, constantly commenting on other people's looks, belongings, calling them stuff that isn't cool, and just being insensitive. It's like she lost a filter or something because usually she's polite. But my wife suspected that our daughter's sudden misbehavior occurred after she started hanging out with new girls from the school. Basically the mean type, and have picked up their behavior. I've sat with my daughter and had many discussions about how her behavior has been negatively affecting everyone around her. Our housemaid is the person most affected here, and my daughter has chosen to be her to be the target for hair, clothes, etiquette criticisms. She has complained about our daughter, calling her offensive names like filthy and gross for cleaning certain areas of our house. I took a stand and explicitly told my daughter I'd punish her if she ever said stuff like that to our housemate again. Last week, my daughter had a party to go to. Earlier that day, she called our housemate filthy, so I grounded her by not letting her go to the party. She threw a fit and called our housemate a liar, saying she never called her that, and that was the end of it. Days later, my daughter came to me saying she couldn't find her iPhone after looking everywhere. She asked me to call her number, and I did. My wife and I were stunned to discover that the iPhone was ringing inside our housemaid's bag. I had a confrontation with her immediately, and she denied and cried, saying she never touched the phone nor had any idea how it got there. I noticed my daughter calling her a thief repeatedly, so I told her to stop and go to her room. I checked the indoor camera before continuing the argument and saw my daughter place her iPhone inside our housemate's bag. There's cameras, girl, come on. I was livid. I apologized to the housemaid and gave her the rest of the day off. I then showed the video to my daughter, and she was absolutely speechless. I said what she did was immoral and straight up offensive to tamper with that poor woman's livelihood over a petty party she couldn't go to. I told her she was grounded and will have to spend the night in the backyard. And in parentheses, she's a germaphobe. But she cried, begging me not to make her sleep with the dirt, insects, and hot temperature. I refused to discuss it, or I'd make it 2 nights. My wife said I should go easy on her, but I said calling people filthy and accusing them of stealing wasn't okay. In fact, it was the absolute worst. And I then went through with my punishment. And I feel like there's edits that the reason, this is in bold print, the reason I chose this punishment was because of the fact that my daughter says she's a germaphobe and used this excuse to insult others' hygiene and appearance. Our backyard has dirt and bugs in it, and this kind of thing gets her uncomfortable. But other than that, the backyard is 100% safe. Question, why doesn't she clean up and do house chores as punishment instead? Because I've already tried this punishment before and it didn't work, because she deliberately stopped eating for days to get out of it and ended up in the emergency department for low blood pressure. Whoo boy, this guy is raising a sociopath.
Yes.
This is me unpacking.
This is so. She's got real. First of all, he didn't lie. He says lying about somebody stealing something. That's not lying. That's setting somebody up.
Yeah, that's
totally a fucking difference.
Yeah.
Like, I think Maria stole my phone is a lie. Planting the fucking phone in Maria's bag is
you're framing someone.
You're framing somebody for a crime. FYI, by the way, you're fucking sociopath. Yeah, I agree. There's a lot to unpack. She has a lot of mental issues. I'm not making fun of her. I don't want to make fun of anybody but that there's clear signs.
Man, fuck this kid.
I'm not saying that I don't think she's wrong or she's an asshole, that she's not an asshole. I'm saying I'm not gonna make fun of her for having mental issues.
No, it's not the mental issues.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But there are plenty of red flags
now,
to go around.
She's 16, right? So we've all seen Mean Girls. Like, is this something that you could chalk up to it being, do you think it's other people influencing her? Because aside from the fact that feels like they communicate, like, this definitely feels like one where he's trying, like, it feels, again, we're only getting one side. It feels like he's tried to express to his daughter about all of the, like, hey, you can't, like, stop being such an asshole, kind of thing. She's apparently wealthy. They have a maid, and she's like,
they have a video
parties. They have indoor cameras.
Camera system,
yeah, they're definitely at least well off,
Yeah.
And
they were probably people singing Imagine.
Yeah.
Into the phone. Beginning of
the original poster is Will Ferrell. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, wow. Okay. He's in that video, by the way.
Your tears mean nothing to me.
Is he the asshole?
He is not an asshole, I don't think. I think that he's in a bad situation because you don't want to, like, write off your kid or, like, well, it's a lemon, throw it back. You know what I mean? Like, how do I return this one? She's 16. You know what I mean? She's 16. And look, when I was in high school, there were people.
I'm sorry, you missed Nery's if only face.
No, I was like, still has the original warranty, bro. I mean, it's not even 18 yet. Your fucking original warranty still intact. Turn that shit back. Return it. That's what I was thinking the whole time. I got to be honest with you, man. I don't mean to cut anybody out, but that's what I was thinking the whole time I was reading this. I was like, it's not fair to put all of this on the parent, but at some point you failed your kid. At some point, and maybe it's because you have money, or maybe not because, but maybe there's something to that or whatever. But somehow, somewhere, what maybe you were working too much when they were younger, but somewhere, somehow they fell through the cracks. Be kind to other people, which and again, this is a very sensitive subject to me specifically, because this is what I strive to teach my children above all is kindness. Like above all, we years ago, Stephanie Mayer Senior and another co-host did this whole thing where they were like, it was like a personality trait, like what do you value more, and it was like different scenarios, right? And that was a whole episode. And one of them was kindness or intelligence. And I was like, I'd rather them be kind and stupid than be smart and be mean. And that's what I'd rather my kids to be. That's what I put a lot of people go the other way around. And I'm not saying one is right and one is wrong. I'm saying that what I value most for my children is for them to be kind.
You want your kids to be Hufflepuffs.
I want my kids to know that other people are not as lucky as they are, and and help other people. That's what I want.
What was that face, Missy, when I said Hufflepuffs?
I was like, fuck her. She doesn't know.
Like,
Yes, I do. I do know. And I didn't make a face.
You haven't read the books.
I'm reading the books. And
what book are you on now?
I'm on the third one now.
That's not enough.
Azkaban.
Yeah, but like the Hufflepuffs were the kind ones.
Yeah.
They weren't necessarily, they didn't excel at any of the other stuff, but they were just always like the rest. You know what I mean? Like, because the other three are, like the Slytherins are like fucking like success at all costs. The Ravenclaws are like, we're smarter than everybody else, and the Gryffindors are like, hey, we're just brave and dumb. You know what I mean? Like, we're just brave. Like, we run head first, and then the Hufflepuffs were like the rest. It's like, oh, you mean the ones that are kind, the ones that are caring, like the ones who like those. That's not
the regular people. Even the regular, like, you need the rest of us to fucking make yourself look better. Rookie's comment was good too. He says a daughter's a real piece of work. Do they still?
I think he meant shit. No.
Daughter's a real piece of work. Do they still have that safe place law that lets you give up your kid if you are?
That sounds like a great sketch where there's someone dropping off a 16-year-old at like a fire department. Like, we're done with this one, so here you go. No questions asked, and you run away.
Can we get a do-over?
Yeah.
I feel bad. Yeah, Rookie's right. The daughter's. There's something real. That sociopath is a really good term for it.
Okay.
I don't know what that was because I was watching Superstore.
The more you know. Here's my question. This girl, how does he say how old she is?
16.
She's 16. She has obvious behavioral issues that they've attempted to address it, and it continues to escalate it. Now, my thing is that what if she's a germaphobe and you're making her sleep outside? That feels a lot like a version, like throwing her in the deep end of the pool and telling her to swim. And I wonder if that's going to be effective for in the long run for her to stop doing this shit, because obviously it's escalating to such an extent that now you're planting, like you're setting somebody up. That's a conniving, fucked up move. And even if it's just for attention, it's still fucking wrong. So I'm wondering if he was right in giving her consequences for sure. And he's right in escalating the consequences to the degree of where she's fucking up. But I'm wondering if it's going to be effective. I don't think he's the asshole. I just wonder if it's gonna there's gonna be a follow-up post of her setting a mattress on fire or something for sure, because this shit just keeps escalating.
Right.
So
after reading a post on "Am I the Asshole?" she murdered her family.
Yeah, did she sleep on the floor in the grass? Like where? Like do they have a? Was it a tent?
Cut the ground outside.
I don't think it's been done yet. This was like I don't know.
He took it to the internet to make.
Yeah. Oh no! He said I follow through.
Because I've already. My wife said I should go easy on her, but I said I'm calling people filthy, and I then went through with my punishment. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
In the comments of the thread, there's a lot of people. The general consensus is that he should give the housemaid a week off and make the girl do the housemaid's
with
job
pay.
with pay. Make the girl do because that's genuinely like the more fitting of the punishment.
I think
like,
so
they're
too.
not necessarily related, but I think there's a little bit of if we went past what's in the post. Now we're going to do some speculation. This guy blaming the friends that she keeps, I think, is also a big red flag. And the fact that it's like, yeah, who gives a shit about your friends if you're the one doing, like your friends didn't plant the phone and all that stuff. Yeah, the one big red flag for the guy is that
Your mom actually has a really good comment about that. Topical.
I can't see comments anymore.
Oh, hang on.
Tanya says at 16 years old, she's old enough to know right from wrong on her own without being, quote, influenced by the wrong crowd. Volunteer work at a place where she could see the other side of life may do her well.
Absolutely agree.
I think that this is more of a long-term thing. And what I was going to say, that's a great point, Mom. Well played. She taught me well because we're both on the same page. But also this girl needs therapy and needs consistent care. Like consistent, maintenance. Like, hey, you're gonna
this girl needs to be put in a stay at home, like stay in.
We don't know. Tell a professional to check her out,
dude. You're right. Obviously, this is the part of the speculation part, but those things are escalating very quickly. Yeah. This isn't just lying. She stole my phone. This is planting evidence. This is other level, dude. This is not the same thing. This isn't like, oh, I don't want to go to a party. I'm calling people mean names. She's escalating shit now to get people fucking fired.
Yeah. Ruining her whole life.
Ruining your whole life, dude.
Ruining her whole life.
Yeah. Like, what if they wouldn't have had cameras? What if the cameras wouldn't have been working that day?
Or the parents
the lady would have been fired, and then she can't get another job. Where's she going to get recommendations? Like, how's she going to get recommendations from that? Like, oh, that's bullshit, dude.
Yeah.
And the trauma that she caused that lady, that poor lady, is fucking. I'm just thinking about any one of my fucking 12 aunts that clean houses for a living.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just thinking about them going home. Like, oh no, they fuck her daughter put. I don't know how her purse got in my. I don't know how her phone got in my purse. Like that.
I wonder how much of this is like racist or it's absolutely classist for sure. Like looking down on servants. But I wonder what the ethnicity is of the lady who cleans their house. Right. Because this feels. Yeah. Do you want to do the other one?
Is it weird? Is it weird that I was like, what if in the what if world, the family was Latino and the maid was white?
Oh.
That's a movie I'd watch.
Interesting.
Right?
Like Spanglish, but reversed.
Right. What if that? Because
Spanglish is a really underrated movie, I have to say. I know that people aren't generally fans of Adam Sandler's attempt at drama, but that movie was great.
I think it's the opposite. I think everybody who's seen his dramas go like, no, he's really good.
Yeah.
He's actually really good.
Really?
You should stop watching. You should stop making Ridiculous 6 and go back to making Spanglish Part 2 because this shit is garbage. Ridiculous 6 was horrendous.
Keep doing movies with Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, he was like there was Oscar buzz for him for Uncut Gem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but he got shunned. He got shunned.
Am I the asshole for asking my girlfriend not to eat so much?
Gonna mute myself.
The first line, I know the title sounds bad, but this is a pretty specific situation, so please hear me out. I, 26 male, he's 26 years old, have been dating a woman we will call Ashley, who's 26 and female, for about 3 months.
We'll call her that because that's her name.
We'll call her that because... her name starts with an Ashley. Ashley grew up financially well off and relatively privileged, and it has been a point of friction in our relationship with her not understanding / grasping the level of poverty I and my family grew up with. It is also relevant to this story that Ashley is a heavier person, and I am a very vocal advocate for body positivity and will very assertively stand up for anyone fat-shaming herself or otherwise or others. That's a clunky sentence. The other person who is relevant in this story is my grandma, 70. My grandmother is a wonderful woman, but she is both very proud and very broke. She likes to have us over for dinner and is an excellent cook, but financially she can't really afford it. She refuses to take any She refuses to take any money from me or anyone else and won't let anyone bring food, saying it's her responsibility to take care of the family. She also takes offense if you turn down the invitation. About a month ago, we had dinner with her, and Ashley liked the food so much she went back for seconds and third large portions. This is not done in my family, as we take a single small portion, as the leftovers are what my grandmother has to eat for the week. So Ashley taking more meant my grandmother didn't eat for the next couple days. After the dinner, I explained this to Ashley, and she was shocked. I tried to bring my grandmother food, but she refused the charity out of pride. My grandmother has invited us to dinner again this weekend. Before we go, I tried to have a discussion with Ashley, reiterating my grandmother's financial situation and asking that she try to only take a single smaller portion so my grandmother can have food for the week. I said we could go eat again after the meal if she was still hungry. Ashley got very angry at this and said she will not be shamed for her eating. She will not limit her food, and that no one other than her decides when she's had enough food. She also said I was fat shaming her. The whole ordeal has highlighted a lot of incompatibility issues, and I don't know if the relationship is going to last, but just want some other opinions on if I am the asshole or not. Am I the asshole for asking my girlfriend to limit her eating? Edit. A lot of people are asking why I didn't tell my grandmother before the meal. To be frank, I didn't think of it, and it hadn't occurred to me that someone would go to someone else's house and eat 2 days worth of food in a sitting. The floor is open for comments.
Well, let's wait for the listeners to see if they
No, you have to talk. The first comment is be civil. Apparently, this is a very controversial post on Am I the Asshole?
Yeah.
The first comment.
I don't think the guy's the asshole. I think this is a very difficult situation. I think there are a lot of variables in this. I'll say this: if his, let's say the woman was not, what was the phrase that he used?
Larger, or what did he say? Ashley's a heavier person. Yeah,
if Ashley was not a heavier person to this person's eyes, because I don't know Ashley, I don't know what heavier means to this guy, because I literally have a friend who he dates. He's married now, but he would date like only like very thin, like rail thin women. And I remember one time he was like, "Yeah, she's gaining weight. She gained like 5 pounds." And so like, there's guys like that, that I don't agree with. That I'm like, I like thick chicks. So I don't know what you're talking about. But my whole point is, if Ashley was not bigger for whatever he considers bigger, and he told her the same thing in the same way, again, we're only going based upon what he was writing. I don't think he would be an asshole.
I don't think he's an asshole in this situation.
I don't know. I agree. I just think that to reiterate, to confirm that, it's like, well, would he be an ass? You know what I mean? It's one of those things like, it's like, when people call women bitches because they're assertive, it's like, well, would you call her a bitch if it was a dude saying the same exact thing? So my whole point is like to confirm that, to affirm that, yeah, I don't think that he's the asshole. Listen, it's a weird situation that he has with his grandmother. That's a very awkward, like, I'm broke, but I'm still feeding the entire family every week. Like, what?
Well, those are the people that are stuck in this kind. Like, look, like retirement is, again, we're talking about the conspiracy of money and capitalism. But the retirement benefits that some people get are like super low. But there's after dealing with plenty of older people who pride kept them out of the ER when they were genuinely needed to go. Pride keeps them out of improving their own situation and accepting a handout because they've been trained that, like that old school thinking that you can't rely on anyone. I feel like this is not a Latino family. I feel like this is not I don't see my family identifying with this and not helping in some other way. But there are cultures like that where it's like, hey, you're in charge. You gotta, like, this girl, who gives a shit who, whatever, she's taking food out of your grandmother's mouth. Like, nah, I don't get. Yeah, who cares about what for the like? You still exist in a real world where poor people exist, and you're taking their like the situation. Also,
it's a weird stance that this girl, when she was told, "Hey, by the way, my grandmother eats the leftovers for the rest of the week," and she was like, And then the next week she was like, hey, remember, don't eat 3 times. How dare you?
Yeah.
Nobody tells me what. Like, those are very contrasting reactions from what's supposed to be the same person. No.
Yeah, no. She said that she was upset at him for bringing it up, and then he reminded her. It wasn't that she was upset that she was starving. She was upset that he brought it up.
So I'm going to jump in now.
Go.
And I will say that I disagree. And I disagree not because I'm devaluing the circumstance of the grandmother. I'm disagreeing. I'm going to lean on he's the asshole because he could have had this conversation with her before and just explained the circumstances of what she was walking into and asked her to be mindful for the sake of that. It doesn't sound like he was very tactful in how he spoke to her about it. Somebody who is whatever he considers heavier or whatever the fuck. I'm just going to say that it's true for men. So here's my disclaimer. It's true for men. However, for women, you are there's a lot of trauma that comes with fucking being in your body one way or another. And so I have to assume that if she is a quote heavier person, she's dealt with a lot of shit that hasn't really piled on very well. And so recently I had a conversation with Nery about this, and that he was trying to say something, and I explained to him that how he was saying it, even though I know it's coming from a great, honest, earnest, loving place, is very triggering because that same kind of framework of communication has caused so much fuckery in here that I just can't get my brain to connect the dots and just leave one thing aside from the other. And so I'm going to just speculate here and assume that this girl has had a lot of issues because of her weight or because of that she is a bigger size or whatever the fuck he framed it. And so I'm just gonna pin him as the asshole because I feel like had he communicated to her from the beginning correctly and tactfully, then perhaps she would have gone in there and hey, we're gonna go have dinner at my grandmother's house. She eats off of her leftovers. She's in a weird economical situation. So appease her by having a plate. If you're still hungry later, we can go have dinner. And then you solve it. But you didn't do that because you just assumed. And so you're the asshole because the way that you talk to people, if you truly care about and you know anything about the body positivity and you're supported to that extent, you've educated yourself on triggers, on the way to talk to people that deal with this kind of shit. And he's claiming it. So he didn't handle the situation correctly. And so for those reasons, I will pin him as the asshole.
Do you think she's not an asshole?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I think she's an asshole after the second incident. After he talked to her about it, then yeah, she is the asshole. She went back and was insulted or whatever. Because to Nery's point, she was shocked and concerned, and then when they went back, she was like pissed or outraged or whatever because how dare you. So yes, I think after the first incident for sure, but before that, he's the asshole.
But he brought it up to. But let me rephrase that. He talked about that in the phrase. Like we don't even have to guess. He says, I never stopped to say that to her beforehand because I never thought that she would eat 3 huge servings worth. So that's not a big. That I don't think that's a bad move.
It
didn't occur to him. He didn't that would be kind of even worse, wouldn't it? Like, oh, by the way, we're gonna go eat at my grandmother's house. Because you're a bigger person, just FYI.
No, it's not because you're a bigger person. The reason why the portions have to be monitored and controlled is because of the economic situation of the grandmother's house. So bring that to the forefront.
But he didn't think that he would have to say that because he would think that he thought that she was just going to eat a regular serving like everybody else.
But if you don't know, then how? So she fucked up because because he assumed that she would know better.
Yeah, but we're not saying that she's the asshole because of that first time. This has nothing to do with the first time. We're talking about the second time when he brought it up. She got mad at him.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody's saying that he's that he, you know what I mean? Like, again, things happen. Oh, you ate 3 servings and you didn't know, and then he told her afterwards, oh, by the way, she eats whatever. But that's not the part where he's asking, am I the asshole? The part he's asking, am I the asshole, is where, like, am I the asshole for bringing it up to her the second time ahead of time? That's where I thought that's where the question lied.
Yeah.
Right.
My stance is that if he would have,
but you don't think she's an asshole for taking food out of this lady's mouth and not understanding that it's not even about a weight thing, or
she doubled down, and then she threw the weight card on there because he was like, hey, by the way, just remember, and he even said, if you're still hungry afterwards, we'll get something to eat.
He said what you said he should say.
So okay,
the second time.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, an asshole.
I just think that no, maybe, you know what? I'm projecting a lot right now. So let me pull back for a second.
Yes.
And yes,
there's
she is the asshole.
Speculation too to think that he didn't communicate effectively either, because it seems like he communicates. He said, "Hey,
but,
I'm sorry."
I'm sorry, but you don't. There's a reason why you don't assume things. If I'm going somewhere and I don't know, if I have a friend that's a comedian and he loves to make abortion jokes, loves it, that he just thinks that they're hilarious, and then he just happens to come into a social situation with somebody in my life that is a fundamentalist. I'm kind of setting them up if I don't talk to either of them and tell them, hey, like, maybe don't tell abortion jokes today, and maybe don't talk about religion today, just so we can make it through dinner.
Oh, you mean like not in a performance setting?
Correct. So what I'm saying is, if
my
you
wife
don't
would do that all the time for like the first 10 years of our relationship. I want to say, maybe that's exaggerated, maybe the first 5 years of relationship, every time I met somebody new in her life, whether it be a family friend or a family member that I hadn't met yet, he's a comedian. Like, that was like, hey, this is my boyfriend, he's a comedian. And I was like, well, okay, what the fuck did you expect me to say?
So what I'm saying is that he assumed that she would know better, but she didn't know the economic situation wasn't present in the beginning. Now, after he had a conversation with her, then yes, she is the asshole. But before then, he kind of set her up unintentionally. I don't think he's like the worst guy on the planet. I don't think any of this happened with ill intention, I guess I will say. But there is a way to handle the situation. And I think that he fucked up in the beginning by not contextualizing the dinner they were about to have.
Well, you're also speculating a lot. Like, that's not in there. It just says, after the dinner, I explained this to Ashley and she was shocked. I tried to bring my grandmother food, but she refused the charity out of pride. There's not a lot of detail there.
But
so
then, after
Rookie said, if grandma's starving, invite her over for dinner. But he already established, the guy already established that she does not take quote unquote charity.
Right.
He used that word in quotes. Like, that's the way his grandmother views it, as charity, which, again, to Mike's point, we can't relate, because being Latino, like, no, that's how we do shit. Like, we all take care of each other.
Like, so we wouldn't ask, we just show up with food and be like, there's food now and this is it, you know.
But I think my point is that if he would have communicated correctly from the beginning, then I would clear him a lot more. But I don't know, I just think that there's something to be said about communication, and he didn't contextualize the situation she was walking into. So he doesn't know what she's doing, and she's fucking up. And then now that's become an issue. Now, is after that when he talks to her and she's still pissed and like outraged or whatever, and tries to, like, you know, whatever, then yeah, she is the asshole for that on paper. But there's just something to be said about getting triggered about the whole conversation. What are you doing?
What was that noise?
That was you.
No.
I thought that was you. I was like, okay.
Anyway, that's my opinion.
I have a question. Do you think triggering people is the responsibility of the triggerer and
No.
not the triggeree?
No, I don't.
So-
It's an onion. It's a like a Russian doll situation, because I don't presume to make the entire planet responsible for not triggering me, because the whole planet wasn't the one who fucking
I'm not talking-
traumatized me.
But I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about like in general. If
No, I'm
someone-
saying you as in like you, the person. It's your
So-
responsibility.
Right. So let's say like I'm meeting a trans person for the first time and I misgender them accidentally and they correct me. For me to then continue to misgender them, it would be I'm 100% the asshole.
For you to
Absolutely.
continue, in this specific case that you're giving the example,
Yes, for me to
you
continue.
for you to continue to misgender them purposefully.
Yes.
There's a difference, because
accidents
we
happen,
are accidental, because we are ingrained to say he, she for what we consider male or female. So it takes a little while. And I'm saying this from like our good friend Oni Perez. His daughter was born a daughter. Now he has a son. Is transgender. So then he said it took him a while to get the pronouns right, just because out of habit.
Right.
So if you're doing this on purpose, like what she did, she doubled down like, fuck you. You don't tell me how to fucking eat and when to eat. Nobody does. Like, she's doing that on purpose. So that's my whole point. So just to give a clarification on that specific example,
Like,
I'm sorry.
Also, especially for like, no, I mean, this is what this segment is about, because like what it also like for her to bring up her trigger in the light of a woman starving is very also selfish.
Yes.
I'm super
it's fucking awful.
I was ready to call this, just from the title and the first paragraph. I was like, Jesus, this is gonna be a rough one. And then by the end of it, if they pulled a flip, how the turntables, and I was like, not because to me, I'm always look. I have my own triggers and mental health issues, and I now that I have health insurance, I've been taking care of that for years now. But I still have shit that triggers me that I'm not realizing I'm being triggered until later, and then after the fact, it is my mental health issues or triggers are not my fault, but they are 100% my responsibility.
Yes.
The world can't cater to like, if I have a phobia of spiders, I'm not going to go get a job at a spider factory and be like, hey, what's with all the spiders?
Right.
Like,
no, I agree with you.
So like your triggers are your response are not your fault. So like, I'm not, but they're 100% your responsibility. So if this lady, she's an adult woman. She's 26 years old. She has lived life. So she should be expected to have certain experiences under her belt to be able to handle certain situations. If she is triggered in that moment, there's nothing that says the whole ordeal has highlighted a lot of incompatibility issues. And I don't know if the relationship is going to last. A lot of that has to do with self-awareness and realizing, oh, maybe I should, recognizing your triggers and apologizing for shit later.
So I'll edit my original opinion and I'll say that she's the asshole. But I think
there's a reason for her.
But
being
no, she's the ass. No, what I want to say is that she's the asshole in this scenario, in this situation. But the situation probably, we don't know if the situation would have rolled out the same way if he had properly communicated to her what she was walking into.
Or we don't know if he properly communicated at all, or like because he could have done everything right. It's just not in the story.
And he could have done everything wrong, because who's going to paint themselves as the villain? So
also, he's a dude, so he probably did a lot of things wrong.
So I just think, I don't know.
Let's get to some comments real quick. Hold on. Let's get to some comments, because we have good ones here. Rookie says, if grandma's starving, get her invited to dinner. Hilda says, I think she's jumping to conclusions about his intent with this particular scenario. If she truly listened to what he's saying about the grandmother, I feel anyone would understand the situation. Rookie says, why the faith is this family letting grandma starve? Nonsense. This family can all get fucked, and their wives. Which is a callback to earlier story. See, when you're that good, that's why he's, that's why he's a Patreon, man. That's why he donates to the Patreon, because that's how he gets it. What a man. I love this dude. Tanya says the girlfriend should cook for the grandmother every once in a while.
I mean,
also, not disagreeing with that, Tanya. However, I will say they've been dating 4 months. That's a bit fast for this situation. Like, he's like, the fact that she's already met the family at 4 months, a little fast. 3 months.
Hey, let's not judge about people by meeting family.
It took long enough.
Normally, you don't meet family at 3 or 4 months. That's
I'm
crazy.
disappointed at how long that took to get a reaction.
I know. I was like,
Crazy talk. It took me a second, like where it's like, yeah, that is. Hey, that's me. Hey.
yeah, it's not like he's fucking flying to Tampa or anything.
Stop it.
Tanya says,
know, we had a
great
great
point,
time.
Missy. 2 exclamation marks, and then she puts communication, and then she puts 3 exclamation marks.
Yes.
Look,
Thank you.
I'll point it out because like Chiquita and I, whenever there's like a miscommunication, one of the things that has made our relationship be solid, feel comfortable moving this quickly and moving as quickly as it has, is that we both communicate very well. And there are moments when if Chiquita's upset about something and she recognizes it, she'll come back and address it. If I'm upset about something, I'll come back and I make, I do something, I'll address it. If I'm unclear, like there's that element of like, just because you said it doesn't mean like you can't go back and
and
you
fix
can't
it.
unsay it, but
Yes.
you can address
You can
it.
fix it. Yes.
Like so
Missy did it right now. She's like,
Yeah.
fuck this. She's not the asshole. And then she's like, well, maybe I'm projecting. And I thought that was a huge, because I got to be honest with you, the moment you said that at first, I was like, oh, okay, well, we're going to just move on from this one very quickly. And then you're like, you know what? Maybe I'm projecting. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
it's true.
I have invested a lot of money in therapy. The least I can get out of it is to be fucking self-aware of my own bullshit if I do nothing else. I actually had this conversation with my therapist last week, and I was like, I think everyone should go to therapy, but also if you choose not to, I get it. I fucking get it, because this is a fucking nightmare. There's no bottom to this well.
That does remind me. There's Paul F. Tompkins. I love him as a comedian. And he has this joke. He's like, I hate when my friends try to tell me what my therapist says. It's like, hey, I don't think your therapist is trying to get messages to me through you. And it's true. It's like when someone tries to tell you about their dream, and it's like, I don't care. Like therapy is so personal and so specific to your individual experiences.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. Not really. It's personal to you, but doesn't mean that somebody else can portray those same behaviors, can do those same behaviors.
But if you're talking about everyone else's behavior and not your own.
If I go to therapy because I'm pedantic, and my therapist is helping me through my pedanticness, even though it's ridiculous because I like the fact that I'm pedantic. So if my therapist is helping me with me being pedantic, and I see somebody else, like I don't know, a friend, co-host of my podcast, and they're pedantic, and I go, well, what my therapist says to me about me being pedantic is so on and so on and so on. Yeah, it's personal to me. It's so individual to me, but it doesn't mean that it can't apply to somebody else that's going through the same thing.
No, I think
pedantic again. Say it more.
I think I'm gonna.
I like when Mike loses a conversation and like he's like, I have no other point, so I'm gonna make fun of something that he said.
No,
the way he said it. Would you mispronounce something? Did you say something 1,000 times? Let me bring that up to you.
First, it implies that I lost the argument, but that's not necessary. That's just pure conjecture, sir. But the idea, look that one up. The idea.
Missy was saying something. Hold on, Missy was saying that I cut her off to make fun of you lose.
Sorry.
I cut her off.
I don't remember. Go on.
But
that therapy. I said no. Wait, I said that just because it's personal to me doesn't mean that it can't also apply to somebody else.
I think I'm going to guess, Mike. I'm going to assume what you were trying to say, but I think what he meant was that your journey, your therapy sessions, your journey, you unraveling your own shit, that's a very personal, individual, like unilateral experience. So it's not something that like just because I can go, I grew up grew up with a single mom. Like not every single parent home was like mine. So I can't be like my therapist says that single moms like XYZ. Like no, my therapist is Maria.
but if I was also going through stuff and I was talking about me growing up as by a single mom, anything you say, I could maybe I could apply that, so I'm okay. It's like yes, I should get my own therapy. I should get my own therapist, and I should go to therapy for my own stuff. But if you're helping me get some of the answers before I go into before I go to maybe
I think now you're projecting.
Are you trying? Wait, I gotta ask. Are you trying to win therapy?
No,
this is what happens.
Beat others.
This is what it is.
This is what's crush this therapy.
This is what happens, Michael.
I don't. Maybe you've gone for 2 years, and maybe you telling me all of the shit that you need to go that you've been through, and I have similar fucking battles.
This is what happens, Michael.
And maybe now when I go to therapy, I'm 2 years ahead, baby. I'm 2 years ahead.
This is what happens.
So now maybe what I would have needed 10 years, now I only need 8. You know what I'm
Who's
saying?
moving too fast in a
This is what
relationship,
happens.
Nery?
I'll
Who's
come.
moving too fast?
I'll come out of therapy and I'll be like, "Hey, my therapist said da 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 da," and Nery will go, "I fucking said that already."
Yeah.
And I'll be like,
No, not
"Yeah,
only that.
but
No, wait. Missy will come out of therapy and she will be like, "Hey, so I just left my therapist right now, and just let you know that she agrees with you." And I go, "What are you talking about? Remember when you said ba 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 ba?" And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Yeah, she just told me exactly the same thing." And I go, "Okay." Like, that's not the same thing as saying like I've me claiming that shit. Like, well, I fucking said it first. It's like, no, but you, I did say it.
No,
sure."
I did say it.
Is that I highly recommend everyone go to therapy to get whatever they're going to get out of it, because like I'll be honest with you, sometimes you don't go to a good therapist. Like some therapists
Yeah,
don't
I
mesh
lucked out.
well with your style, with like your
This is the longest I've had a therapist my entire life. I love her.
I have to. They changed my insurance. My psychiatrist retired, so now I have to find another one. And the fact of the matter is that that's not easy, because it is a relationship, but it is an objective third party person.
Yeah, I can't even go to a different barber. It hurt me when I fucking when my barber would, like, when back when I had hair, and I would fucking barber would like, "Hey, he's on vacation." What the fuck? Like,
Yeah,
it was like,
you?
and then somebody else would be like, "You want me to cut your hair?" I'm like, "No, sir.
You don't
No,
have my files. You pulled a Sheldon. You don't have my records.
There's a reason your seat's empty over there, buddy.
Yeah.
No, but the truth of it is that a profession, like, yeah, there is certain clinical professional things that they are going to know more than the average person, but also sometimes you need to hear a stranger tell you what your friends and family have been telling you, so that you can recognize it. It's like you hear it from the outside from someone who's like supposed to tell you what's up, and they're like, fuck, you know. Like, I had moments like that in therapy too, where like something my mom said, and I'm like, yeah, you know, like I have to, because it's you, begrudgingly or not, you revealed to yourself some form of truth. You know what I mean?
But oddly enough, it's very affirming that I have the right people in my corner. When my therapist, when people that don't even talk to each other are like, yeah, like agreeing with each other, that's like, oh, okay, cool. It checks out. Everyone's on the same page. Cool. I can proceed.
There's that moment of like, fuck, is it that obvious to everyone but me? You know, like that kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, yeah. But yeah, so I've gotten to now
whenever Missy and I hang out personally, I just carry flags with me.
You're so stupid. You're so stupid.
Like,
oh my god, where were your flags today? Huh? Nowhere. Jerk.
Yeah.
All right. That's it, man. That's a podcast. Thank you very much. Thank you again to Rookie and Izu and Yolanda, who wasn't in the chat today. I hope she's doing well. I hope she's okay.
She's on vacation, baby.
Vacay, baby.
Well, I mean, we
love her.
I check in with you guys when I'm on a fucking cruise ship. She can't check in with us. All right, that's fine.
She's on the other coast, homie.
Anyways, thank you to those three,
She's that way.
Rookie, Yolanda, and Izu, because they are Patreons, and they have gone to patreon.com/WuBro pod and contributed and continue to do so. I love you guys. Thank you. Appreciate you. I appreciate everybody who's been on the comments, including Jeff and George and Hilda and everybody who's been. Thank you so much. And Tanya.
Hi, Mom.
Wow, bro. Thank you, Tanya.
You saved my mom's today. You give her credit.
Oh my god.
Oh boy. So thank you guys, all of you, for checking us out. If you're listening to the audio version of this, you could go back and watch the video version of this on our YouTube and or Facebook pages. All the links are in the bio. We appreciate you. Everything is WuBroPod, WuBroPod. It's WuBroPod@gmail.com. If you want to email us some topics that you want us to talk about, WuBroPod on Instagram, on Facebook, on social media, on Cash App, on Patreon. Everything is at WuBroPod. Thank you very much for checking us out. Make sure you check out Missy's writing at Missy the Writer on Instagram. Missy writes on Twitter. Mike is at Mike Mercadal. You can go to neryscience.com or whatwashisname.com. Check that out. The other podcasts on the Geek Bro Network that include the aforementioned Kickflix, that has both Mike and Missy and myself, as well as Jeff on there.
We always have a good time.
Yes.
Well, there's always somebody who has a good time, and there's always somebody who doesn't.
That's true.
And that should be enough to get you into the room to watch the show.
In the room where it happens.
We also have the other podcasts on the Geek Bro Network, which include the Mount Geekmore podcast, Cramotopia, Pero Let Me Tell You, Childlike at Best with Mike Valdez, Shiver, A Dose of Ellie, and Seasons, a TV podcast, which Missy and I just did the next couple episodes, and they should be put out soon. Again, thank you very much, everybody. We love you. We appreciate you. You guys are the best. That's how winning is done.